Hello? Are we choppy? Is the audio okay? Where are we at? Mike, okay. Should be better now. Should be better. I'm trying to lower the gain and speak with the mic closer. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Howdy. Happy birthday, Jerry. Yes, I think he's 93 today. 93. I think if you put him in the house now, he probably still gets third. Maybe second. Shoutouts to Jerry. But how is everyone? I mean, BB26 drama? What? I thought the whole cast loved each other. I don't know where people get that idea. That's not my read on the situation. Yeah, I saw a lot of people being like, yeah, the BB26 cast, they're all buds. I'm like, are they? Might sound like I'm hiding some secret information. I feel like it's all out there. You could just kind of look at the dynamics. Did America not like the last episode of The 100? She's crashing out a little bit. That's the only reason I'm streaming. We were supposed to watch The 100 for like 5 hours, and she said, "Fuck this show. I'm not watching this show." She hasn't been able to stop talking about it though, so I think we're in. I think she's.
Every time I complain about it, they're like, "But did it make you feel something?"
She posted on Blue Sky. No, she's heated. There was a death that she's not happy with.
Well,
you know how you know someone just doesn't care about a death? When they consistently say, "I don't even care that they died. It doesn't matter." Like, what's the big deal? Like, they want me to be invested in this character, and then they just kill him, and I don't care. Why would I? Gotcha. Rune Queen, thank you for the 27 months. And Heather, logged back in for the tea. There is some tea. Is the tea meaningless? Absolutely. This is some good Big Brother drama. Just absolute nothing burger after nothing burger. Everyone in the situation's wrong, I think, with no exception. And that's just how you like to see it. Rachel gives her 2 cents that have nothing to do with anything. That's funny. Eric Stein shitting on Evil Dick. We got everything here. We have an unfortunate Scotty Salton good opinion. Hate to see it. What's that meme of like the worst person you know just made a good point?
Yeah.
Damn. The tea is just dirty water. It's pretty bad. It's pretty funny though. But we'll get into that in just a moment. How are you all doing? What's the weekend looking like? If you guys want to know what I'm sipping on, I was not planning on streaming today. But I'm just like, oh, this stream fell into my lap. This is too easy to talk about. Why is Scotty the worst? Honestly, during the show, he gave kind of bad vibes, but that's not a crime. After the show, he's been very weird, like objectifying different women in the show, saying if they're hot or not, and calling girls mid and stuff, and just kind of like douchebag behavior. Bit of a demon. But worse than all the misogyny, he voted for Casey over Tyler. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. It's the community clip. I can excuse misogyny. Voting for Casey over Tyler, that's where I draw the line. But yeah, he was just odd. I think about Leah too, if I'm not crazy. So that's where I'm at. I see the Eric Stein tweet. We'll look at it. Okay, well let's see what Leah has to say, because Leah started it. And let me talk about this for a second, because I think a lot of people have this idea of like, oh my God, she's just saying her opinion. It's a big deal. Let her have her opinion. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Everyone gets to have their own opinion. It's just when you post your opinion on like a social media platform, you're not asking for harassment. If you're harassing someone, you can't say, oh, you posted, so I'm allowed. But people are allowed to disagree with you publicly, right? And especially posting something like this. The second I saw this TikTok, we knew there was going to be a tweet, right? Like, this felt very cause and effect. I don't think anyone was super surprised by this take drumming up a little bit of drama. I feel like she was probably fine with the heat, like she knew it would cause drama. Yeah, and it's not that big of a deal, but, you know. So, you know, Leah started it. Granted, let's see if what Leah started warranted the response.
that while I was in jury for Big... Is it too soon for me to say that while I was in jury for Big Brother, I literally... The only person that I still wanted to win was Chemo. This is going to be mean. I'm actually just warning everyone that this is going to be mean, but it's coming upon my 2-year anniversary off of the show, and
Let me just say, Leah is real as hell for this. Leah said, I want to talk about Big Brother, and I'm allowed to. She says, it's been 2 years. I still get to say what I think about my season. And on that, Leah and I could not agree more. 3 years after, I'm like, you know what? People need to hear about Blue's positioning in Week 8. I feel like there's a big misconception.
I think that I'm allowed to say mean things now. How come whenever I was in jury, the only person that I wanted to win was Chemo because everyone else, like, was very privileged, financially at home. And to me, like, I wanted someone to win the money who, like, needed it.
Okay. This is the first jumping off point where I think a lot of people are going to have disagreements. What are you all's thoughts about people voting for who needs the money the most? What's the take? What are your guys' thoughts on it? Because I have some thoughts on it. And America and I disagree on this. I think we'll get into it on the podcast tomorrow when we record. Don't like it. Don't like it. Boo. America says that's fine. Stupid. People can vote for whatever reasons. People can vote however they want. Okay. I think those are the two prevailing opinions, right? Boo, that's lame. You should vote for the better player. Or, yeah, you can do whatever you want. Allow me to do a little bit of fence sitting.
Is Zachary 12 Zach?
No. Let me do some fence sitting here. Everybody, by definition of the fact that they get to cast their vote, is allowed to have whatever criteria you would like. If I walk up there and I say I'm voting for the taller house guest, for me height is extremely important, and I just want someone who's 6'3", I think they're more deserving of winning the prize money than someone who's 5'11". That's allowed. I'm permitted to do that, and you guys can't say shit, because I can vote however I want to vote. I actually think I want to vote for the person who has more money at home. Because the people who have less money, they can pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Right? If you're just handed a ton of money from winning a game, you're never going to learn what it means to succeed in this capitalist country. That's where I want to vote. Because if your argument is everyone gets to have their own criteria, then everyone has to be able to have their own criteria. Right? Like that's what you're saying. So you can't say some criteria are good, some criteria are bad. It's like, no, everyone gets to do what they want. My thought is everyone is absolutely allowed to have their own criteria, and I'm allowed to judge their criteria as our fans. I'm allowed to say, well, that seems kind of lame. Now, should I harass them and DM their family? No, that's when you're an insane person. Should I get up in their comments and say mean things? No. But if someone, like if Fessy is like, I'm voting for Casey over Tyler because Casey beat me in the veto in which I was evicted, I'm allowed to go online and say, Fessy, I think that's stupid as shit. I think that's so dumb. And that doesn't take away anything from Fessy. He's still allowed to use that to vote. And his vote matters more than my opinion. So, if you're voting for who you think needs the money the most, that's fine. I think that's silly. Now, I don't think that's actually why Leah would have voted for Chemo, to be honest, which is why I think this is all kind of funny. Like, Leah's premise of, I wanted to vote for Chemo because, and this is what she said, because he's not privileged in the same way that the other people left in the house were. That's not why she would have voted for Chemo. She would have voted for Chemo because she liked Chemo more than everybody else. And I don't think anyone denies that that's a normal criteria for casting your vote. Voting for the person you like more. I would prefer for Chemo to win this season, someone I like, than Chelsea to win this season, someone I don't like. Then all of a sudden, it's Chelsea's bad social game. You know what I mean? No one's going to have a problem with that. Some people will, but, you know. I think the prevailing opinion would say that's fine. So, like, all this drama is coming out of the fact that, like, Leah's saying this. I don't think that was an instrumental factor in Leah's vote. It definitionally wasn't. in Leah's vote. But even if she had the chance to cast a vote for Chemo versus Chelsea or Chemo versus MJ, it would not have been the deciding factor, which is what I think is a little silly. Thank you, old Diggy Vert. How you doing? Good to see you. Let's see what she got.
This is gonna sound mean, and guess what, babe? I don't care at this point because, I love those people now. But yeah, I was just thinking, like, all of the people who I felt like really deserved the money and needed it were gone. And now it was just like a fight between the privileged kids.
Okay. I understand feeling some kind of way hearing yourself described as one of the privileged kids. If you guys don't know me, I'm Cody Worthington, Yale graduate. I played on Big Brother 25. I entered as a lawyer. And I think I was struck with the label of being like a rich, pompous Yale kid, which, of course, I'm immensely privileged. Of course, right? I would not say my family is particularly wealthy. I think I grew up comfortably, which by itself is already like incredibly privileged. Going to Vanderbilt, I was able to pay for college through money from a malpractice case. Like, I can't say I've been struggling for money in that way. However, if you've played a whole game and you've gone through this kind of like really difficult experience and then you see someone describe it as like all these privileged kids just going at it, I don't think it's an unnatural reaction to be like, hey, how dare you? Like that's mean.
And now after like knowing Cam and being friends with him, I wouldn't include him in that category.
I don't know if that means she just likes Cam or she found out Cam is not as privileged.
But I'm like, damn, all y'all literally live with your parents and have no bills, and one of you is going to go home with 750 racks. Like, I don't like that.
Okay. So that's the TikTok. That's what started everything. I think it's interesting. I mean, people are allowed to vote for whatever criteria they want. I think sometimes... Okay, let's take it back a little bit. I saw some comments saying, well, everyone goes into the house as a blank slate. So, if you think this is a criteria that's important, don't mention your wealth. I think Vanessa kind of hid some of her wealth and acted like she had a career that was less lucrative than her professional poker career. I think that would not be super chill, or at the very least, not be very well accepted if people went into the house and pretended like they were, living paycheck to paycheck when in reality they were in a high-rise in Manhattan. And you could say, who cares? It's Russell Hantz, my dog died in Katrina, right? Like, anything's allowed. It's a social strategy game. And I think, sure. I just don't think people would actually like that. Someone going in cosplaying that they, are not as well financially situated as they are. Now, let's look at some of the responses, because Chelsea, I think, took the most offense to this, which, just a reminder to everybody, Leah voted for Chelsea to win the game over MJ, who Leah was closer to the entire season. Sure, MJ is the reason Leah was evicted, but they were friends by the end of that week, too. So Leah seemingly voted on the social strategic who played a better game, as opposed to, I'm going to vote for my friends. So that's another backdrop to this beef. Leah voted for Chelsea to win, and Chelsea won unanimously. So it's a little bit more like, what are we doing here, guys? If you evicted America on Big Brother, would she be bitter juror towards you in the end? Depends how soon after my evicting of her was the vote. If I evicted her at Final 3, I don't think I get her vote. If I evict her at Final 6, I think I do. Because, like, right when America was evicted, Bowie Jane could not get her vote against anybody. And then, like, 3 days after, she was like, I like Bowie. So, I think that's just being bitter in the moment. It's like, it's weird if you're not bitter. Okay. So, what did Chelsea say? It said, someone said, I felt the same way, and for the same reason, I was so sick of MJ and Chelsea saying they didn't need the money. Chelsea says, which Chelsea are you talking about? Because living at home was a sign I did need the money. I worked for a local church at the time, in debt from college because my parents couldn't pay my way like other privileged people. Let's be real now. Okay. So now we're debating who's more privileged between Chelsea and Leah. Okay. She follows it up with, funny how privilege gets weaponized when people don't know your story. I worked in nonprofits, lived at home, had debt, had to count every dollar before saying yes to Big Brother. Being loved by my parents is a blessing. It's not the same thing as having life handed to you. Okay, all right, we're cooking. So Leah quote tweets. Sorry, I'm not used to Twitter lingo. It's been a minute. So how is my lifestyle contradictory to any opinion I shared, Chelsea? I like it. No subtweet. Name in the post. I've worked for every dollar I have, and I don't mind that, but surely you must have me mistaken. I never compared or used struggle as a strategy during the game, and it wasn't even a factor in my decision or my vote. Okay. I think this is a good tweet by Leah. Also, your TikTok was about how it would have been a factor. It's not X. Absolutely not. It's Twitter. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you can't say, like, it wasn't even it wasn't a factor by definition, but your whole post was how it, like, would have been a factor. So, like, I don't think that makes too much sense. I've always given you flowers in terms of your wins. Comparing college debt and your choice, a privilege, by the way, to work in philanthropy/nonprofit to struggle is actually insane. Any think piece you've ever had that is related to me has just been a failed attempt to undermine my intelligence and work ethic. All right. Here is my take on the situation. I know everyone's waiting. The second you saw this first TikTok and a couple tweets flow in, everyone said, what does Cory think? We need to get his take on these things. Don't worry, I'm here. I think people need to be a little bit less defensive about being labeled privileged. Because being privileged does not mean you don't work hard, you haven't gone through difficult things.
Wait, babe, they tweeted again.
Who?
10 minutes ago.
Who?
Both of them.
Good. Well, we're on it. I think when someone says, you're privileged, Cory, my initial response is no. No. I studied hard for my SATs, and that got me a scholarship. And I took a lot of classes at Vanderbilt, and those classes were tough. Political science. It's like, no. It's like, absolutely, I'm privileged. If someone says, Cory, you're privileged, you clearly have no work ethic, and I don't think you should ever be able to play in a social strategy game because I want the poors to compete, then I think you're insane. Then I'm like, okay, you lost me a bit. And we've already talked about the idea of getting a ton of people who are living paycheck to paycheck into the Big Brother house because that's going to be more fun because they're going to play more desperately because they need the money, because if they don't get the money, then who knows where they're sleeping when they exit the house. That's psychotic behavior, and you're the VIPs in Squid Game. Right? Like, let's not get that fact lost, because I think a lot of people are hearing this like, yes, we need less influencers and models. We need real everyday Americans who don't have any money. See, that's weird. Like, of course there should not be a line of, like, income you have to surpass in order to get cast on Big Brother. No one's saying that. And yeah, it's kind of a shame if everyone's going in there as, like, a multi-millionaire and it's basically just like a, the Hunger Games with the Capital Children. You know what I mean? Like, that's just weird. No one wants to watch that. But the premise that, like, let's get everyone who is, needs the money in order to survive the coming year. Why would you enjoy watching that? I think that's an internal, introspective question people have to ask, because I don't think there's a good answer. The people who are more affluent do not play less hard. Just go through Big Brother history. That's not a thing. Frankie Grande was playing really hard. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's a correlation between how much you need the money and how hard you play. I don't think that exists. I understand conceptually it feels like it should exist because it just makes sense. But we have like 27 seasons of data. Throw in Canada, throw in OTT and celebrity. Like, that's just not a thing. I also think the idea of like because I work in a nonprofit, I'm not privileged. That doesn't fully track to me. Um, it's like you can absolutely work in a nonprofit and be privileged, or work in a nonprofit and not be privileged. I think a lot of people, choose a career that is far less lucrative because they find it extremely rewarding, or they can't find something better. And I think Leah saying like it's your choice to do that. That also doesn't like. I think both people on this point don't make that much sense. You need so much more context to make sense of any of it. Jeff Kent, yeah, he was rich and played super hard. So where are they tweeting? They're just like in the replies of each other. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. I'm not going to use the platform to bring forth receipts about your life. I just won't. This is not an argument of who is more oppressed. It's bigger than that. That's pretty funny. I mean, that's a classic. I'm not going to bring up this thing. It's like, okay. So why are you bringing it up? I'm not even going to mention the stuff you did in your past. I don't want to go there. I have too much respect for you to mention that stuff you did in the past in March of last year. Dwight, no, this is pretty cataclysmic. I mean, if you're not locked into what's happening on Big Brother Twitter right now, I mean, like, I'm thinking of skipping the next episode of Survivor 50 just to really get in the bones of this drama. Okay. Then Leah says, won't or can't. You have no receipts and have been dedicated to misunderstanding me since the day you met me. I'm confident you know zero about my personal life, but took every chance you could to talk about it. So, can we all level a little bit? I don't want to sound condescending. I've had my petty beefs. You guys have seen them. It just so happens this is not one of mine. Oh, sorry guys. Chelsea said, "LOL." Okay, Leah. All right, there you go. I watched Big Brother 26 intently. I watched the feeds. I watched these two talking to the cameras, talking to each other, talking to different people in the house. We got one shit talker saying to the other shit talker, "You're a shit talker." They're both shit talkers. And there's worse crimes than shit talking in the BB house. It's kind of hard to find house guests who haven't done that. I'm pretty proud that I think I didn't go too hard. Person I shit talked the most, maybe Cameron, then my brother. But like, they both did not like each other in the house. I don't think Leah was vibing with Chelsea's always talking about religion. Same with MJ. Her and Tucker talked about that all the time. I don't think Chelsea vibed with Leah for a myriad of reasons. It was hard to pin down. I think this is a classic case of they don't like each other. Don't think they're friends. And I think this whole privilege, essentially what Scotty said, was everyone who's able to take time off of 3 months off of their job or just not work for 3 months and go on a show like this is inherently privileged. Which I think is right. I think there's levels to everything, of course. Like, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you have children, like, you simply cannot go on Big Brother. So, by that fact, everyone who does go on Big Brother is more privileged, right? I will say, just privileged as an adjective is kind of like not super descriptive because everyone is privileged because there's people below them. But if we're just using like the idea of you are comfortable financially, which I think is what most people mean when they say privileged. Not to get all like syntax and grammar, but the ed at the end of privilege, it's just a comparative term. But I remember Chelsea talking about Leah on feeds. Leah probably came out and saw everything and obviously felt some way about it. So the jury video was a way to take a jab at her. 2 years after the fact is kind of crazy. Like, even like right now, like I'd find like a quote from Blue or Matt or Cameron or something just being mean.
Yeah, but you're over it. Like, some people are not over it. You know what I mean?
I think I was over it 2 years after.
So you take any opportunity to like talk bad about that person that you don't like. It makes sense.
engagement's down. Yeah, but things like this don't get engagement up. It gets engagement up for a day.
Yeah, but that's worth it.
I guess.
People.
Rachel came in with a funny tweet, I thought. Rachel said, PSA to my BB house guest. BB is a social game voted by a group of peers on who has made it to the final two and played the best game. The winner who wins plays an amazing game, period. It's not easy to get to the final two. The season votes on who should win. Congrats to the winners. And then Chelsea retweeted it being like, yes! Someone who gets it! like Rachel just coming in with the, whoever wins the game deserved it. Which I think we could all agree. Whoever wins the game, by definition of winning the game, deserved to win the game. By the format and the twists and the cast and everything combined to their win, you know? I'm not getting into that. Obviously, Siamese. I hope you could understand. That seems like a lot. I think my perspective on this is if you are ardently taking either person's side, you're wrong. And then Eric Stein replied, the winner of my season didn't play an amazing game. It was easy for him to get to the final two because he was gifted 3 built-in votes while everyone else was given 1 or none, and his best opponent was contractually blocked from voting him out or using a veto to backdoor him. Yeah, well, that happened. And even still, like, as much as we shit on Evil Dick for being a terrible person and his win being kind of having an asterisk on it, it doesn't make what Evil Dick did not like, he still worked very hard and gamed really hard and won important competitions and got to the final two with his daughter. He had a lot of help that other people didn't have, but, you know, it's still an accomplishment, right? And, of course, the next most controversial win's probably Rachel, but I think people are less quick to shit on that win because we love Rachel. And also, it's like, look, it's not Rachel's fault. She had the cards in front of her and she played the game. What are you going to do? There should be a BB cruise so all the former house guests can throw hands. That's not going to happen because if you're on a BB cruise, then you're being paid to be on the BB cruise. And if you're being paid to be on the BB cruise, then you're not going to fuck up the BB cruise because you want to get invited to the next BB cruise. Chat BCC is where shit will actually go down. And if you guys think Chat BCC beef is performative, it kind of is, but it's real. There's not like an actual chat where like the people who are beefing are like, oh, this is going great. People are loving the drama. It's like, nah, these people don't like each other, and this is just a way for them to like subtweet each other. I don't think it's performative. I think it's like, you know, sometimes when you have something juicy to say, you're going to say it because there's an audience. But I think people do mean what they say. Thank you, Superfly. Brendan was not being performative. Well, you forgot about my caveat where if your wife is on the show, the mother of your children, that's different. that's where your shit's hella not performative. I just think it's so silly. Like, okay, let's simplify this. Because I think no one is capable of answering this question until you've been on Big Brother. What is y'all's criteria for a jury vote? How would you vote? Based on what? I'm curious. Because I think everyone has an idea of how they would vote going into the show, and then you actually go on to the show, and it's very different. You're saying a rich tapestry? Okay. That's respectable. Who I was friends with, I think that's a very normal perspective. If I liked them. I'd vote for the person who needs the money more. Chuckles and Leah. Game/social game if they're a good person. I'm voting for my bestie if they're in the end. 40% who played the best game, 60% who I liked more. Whoever has more privilege, okay. Vibes, thank you. Thank you, Not Punk Girl, you got it. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner, folks. You vote based on vibes. In the moment, you want to vote for who played the best game? Well, does that comport with your vibes? Maybe it does. And if it does, my vote's been cast. Yeah. Do you know what every single Big Brother house guest is thinking 10 minutes before casting their vote? What was going through your head, America?
What?
10 minutes before you cast your vote.
I was trying to remember how to do the gritty.
America was trying to remember how to do the gritty. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, am I going to get my phone back soon?
Yeah.
I wonder if Zach and my mom are here. I don't give a shit who wins the game. And I'm a student of the game. I'm a super fan. I want to make sure my winner represents my season well. You know what I care about more? Where am I going to go tonight? Is there an after party? How does this work? I've been in here for 114 days. Is there a new war that started? Izzy alluded to something. Like, people acting like their criteria for a jury vote is this, like, very complex tapestry. It's vibes. How many people do you think voted for the best player when their friend was sitting next to them? Some. I think Leah, for example. I think Leah liked MJ more than Chelsea and then voted for Chelsea. Partially because...
After being put up, it's like...
But they bond.
was like, fuck MJ.
They bonded by the end of that week. They were friends. Wall comp time is my main criteria. That makes sense. That's fair. I'd be thinking who I'd be ghosting for the rest of my life after the vote finishes. You don't know until you see the clips. So yeah, just a lot of bullshit, a lot of nothing, I think. It's just like, it's okay if you're privileged, you know? Everyone's a little privileged. I do think it's one of those things where, like, coming out and saying all of these people are privileged, I appreciate that message more with an acknowledgement that you're also privileged. You know what I mean? I think it's weird to be like, oh, I didn't want to vote for any privileged people. Me, on the other hand. And I'm not one to say, you know, how Leah made her money or, you know, I don't know her personal situation. How could I? But I think it's like, it's okay to acknowledge your privilege. It's fine. No one's going to be critical of you if you say, yeah, you know what? I think I've been better off than some people, for sure. I mean, how can you not vote for Chelsea that season? I think there's a lot of reasons to not vote for Chelsea that season. I think Chelsea's social game was not very good. Straight up. Like, I think her strategic game was very good. She was very messy, but she always got to the right conclusion. Comps-wise, she was very good as well. And I think social was her worst element. And I think, like, there are seasons where she could lose in the final, too. Her being able to sweep the jury in most cases kind of felt like being gifted the trio kind of thing. That doesn't mean she's not the best player of the season. It's not close. Of course she is. You have it the other way around? What do you mean? Is Leah trying to get on Traders or the challenge? No, she has a thought and she's posting it, you know? And the other people have thoughts on her thought. It's just so simple. Like, they didn't like each other. Like, Chelsea didn't like Leah the entire season. And it was personal. We were all there. And Leah didn't like Chelsea. I don't know if it was on the same level. Right? I feel like Leah, frankly, spent her time shit-talking other people more. In other news, Boston Rob canceled for being a Trumpy. Y'all gotta grow up. Not because you shouldn't cancel someone for being a Trumpy. I think I've said this before. I think the policy should be just shaming people out of society for being a Trumpy, just frankly. But, like, what did you think? like, that's more what I'm saying. You have to grow up. Like, this comes as a surprise? Like, and I don't even know. I figured. Just an opinion. I would not say that, hey, bub. That is a step too far. Absolutely. That is a ban-worthy thing to type out. Obviously. It's a psychotic thing to type. I think Chelsea's good at forming very strong social bonds. She is mess strategically. I get what you're saying. She is a mess strategically, but most people are. Ceri's a mess strategically. Vanessa's a mess strategically. Outside of, like, Derek, who had a very simple strategic plan, everyone's kind of all over the place. I just think socially, like, she was very well bonded with Brooklyn. I think she mishandled MJ most of the game, mishandled Leah the entire game. With Cam, I think she's lucky Cam is so fucking easygoing. Like, BB28 should cast all former rich people who lost everything. What are you guys cooking? That's why Parvati Shallow is the best Survivor player. I think Rob's, like, 5th. Rob's not number 1, but I think he's underrated, all things considered.
Who's your favorite Survivor player? Who do you think is the best?
Best of all time. Um, if I had to bet on anyone, probably Parvati. I think Tony has the best resume. I think Tony's resume impresses me a lot. I think for me it's Tony, Sarah, and Parvati as top three. I think Tony just has like two top tier winning games. Parvati has basically two top tier winning games, even if she didn't win one of those seasons. And Sarah has almost two top tier winning games. I don't care too much about going out early. It happens. It's fine. Where does Sandra rank for you? She's good, but I just think there's levels to these things. I think she's probably like 15 to 20 or something. Parv won Australia versus the world. I just don't care. And that's not saying it doesn't matter. I just didn't watch it. It's a different format. It's an impressive achievement. It's just I feel like when I'm doing this ranking criteria, it doesn't factor in. Also, I haven't seen it. I know it's an impressive game, but 12 days, smaller cast. It's just different. It's more legit than reindeer games, but I think I kind of view it in a similar-ish light. Yeah, but that's how returning player seasons work, Lunar. Like, you gotta if you're gonna count returning player seasons, you gotta count them. You can't kind of have it both ways. Next BB season, everyone below the poverty line or unemployed like Vince. Oh, can I vent about that? That shit is so dumb to me. The dunking on Vince because he's unemployed. Fucking everyone who goes into the house is unemployed. Not everyone. A majority of the cast each season goes in unemployed. And then just because they put on their Chiron, their former job, does not make them employed. America was unemployed going on to BB25 because she left her job to go on Big Brother, which a ton of people do, which I think is essentially what Vince did. I think he left it a bit earlier. 3 months before. Yeah, again, most people don't get time off their jobs. Yeah, it's a 4-month break with pay, not a problem. A lot of times you're like, I want to make this decision to go pursue this opportunity, and then they're like, oh, maybe when you come back, we'll talk, Vince sold himself as the unemployed adult. Well, look, you go into casting with a list of things, and then they kind of decide what box you're going to be in. They liked the unemployed. Because if they didn't care about that being part of his story, they would have just put his former job. Even if he didn't leave his job for the show, we've seen a job crisis. It's common to be unemployed nowadays. Yeah, that was another thing where it was just, shitting on Vince. It's like when someone's, a virulent racist. You're like, this guy's a racist person, and then you start fat-shaming them. It's like, look, I'm not going to jump to their defense. Fuck that person. But, the thing you're doing is still not good, even if you're doing it to a shitty person. It's not cool to, make fun of someone or, emasculate someone because they're unemployed. It just so happens you don't like the person. That doesn't change the action that you're doing. I just think that happens so often on Big Brother, is, you don't like someone, and then you start, throwing pejoratives their way. And then you're like, yeah, but they suck. It's like, yes, they do. So do you. All right, let's look at some comments, unless there's anything new. I assume not, right? Also, it just looks like both of them are spiral. It doesn't matter, guys. It's fine. I agree, Cowboy. I agree. For me, it was the greatest persuasive speaker in the world. So, I guess it was a little bit more complimentary. But in general, though, I think voting for the person who needs the money the most, it's just kind of for me, that is just another way of saying you're voting for who you like the most. Because really, when you're voting on who to win Big Brother, the main factor is the money. Who do I want to reward with this tremendous amount of money? And you could try to give it to them because they don't have enough money or because they played the best game and you feel like they're worthy of getting this prize. If you don't like someone, it's going to really hurt to give that person so much money and so much success. So I think ultimately it all just boils down to social game, which is why I'm still kind of surprised that Leah voted for Chelsea. But I think there's a certain amount of groupthink that happens in juries where, like, clearly Chelsea was the superior player. Everyone on the jury knew it. It became even more clear through the speeches, even though I thought MJ gave a pretty good speech. And it ended up being unanimous. But I think if everyone voted just like how they actually wanted to vote, I think it should have been 7-2. With Angela and Leah voting for MJ. If they all just, like, lie detector, who would you rather win Big Brother right now? I don't think T-Core gave a shit about who won. Are you kidding me? Based on how she played the game. What's going on here? What season should I start my mom on? I don't know. This post pissed me off because let's just read it. I may not be using the right term with metagaming. Wasn't sure how to phrase it. I'm a brand new fan. Before last month, I've never seen an episode, which is crazy. I don't understand how you've watched. You're lying, right? Before last month, I haven't seen an episode. So you're saying you've had 2 months and you've watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons. Maybe you're just on that grind. Maybe it is possible. In the seasons I've watched, my favorites are those where their gameplay has an element of sincerity/authenticity. Players exaggerate their personalities or play up emotion, but it's all with the goal of winning the endgame or the grand prize. Even if the twists aren't very interesting, the drama level is low, or the game moves feel pretty basic or safe. I still feel engaged with the show. But then you get to seasons I haven't liked as much, and the common thread with all of them is how performative they are. The players aren't people anymore, they're characters. It feels more like they are competing either to win AFP or to build an audience for their social media, rather than going for the grand prize. Every player has to fit some character trope rather than just be a person. I'm kind of with them so far. I follow, I understand, and I get it. There's been enough seasons now that being a super fan seems ubiquitous. This is like a holy shit, what are you talking about? Like when players first started noticing trends in the game and were the first superfans, they'd use those trends to their advantage. That's neat and interesting gameplay. But now every player has been watching since season 1. I'm like, are you in the wrong subreddit? And every player knows what does or doesn't work. Huh? You said you watched BB26 as one of your seasons? So gameplay-wise, there's little variety in later seasons I've seen. And I could stand that if it weren't for the performative characters. I wanted to rip my hair out every time Jasmine was on my screen. I don't know if Jasmine's watched an episode of Big Brother before, during, or after her time on the show. Like a single time. Quinn was hamming it up so much for the cameras, I got annoyed and resentful he was taking up screen time. Look, I think Quinn would say that if you don't vibe with his personality, you're going to be annoyed by him because there's a lot of his personality. Also, we've had enough data of Quinn postseason. Bro's not playing a character. He's like that. You guys seen his TikToks? I scroll, it's just him shaking ass. I'm like, let's go, Quinn. Like, move on. I like, comment, next post. You know, like, like there's nothing performative about what. I think Quinn might have toned it down in the DR. He might have said, you know, there's not enough space in the diary room to really jump around in the way he wants to. So I'm not saying you can't be annoyed by it, right? Like, it's fine. People have preferences. It's just like, don't say he's inauthentic. That's not fair at all. A player like Tucker is interesting. Not only... Oh, God. And then you say Tucker's your example of someone who... He's an agent of chaos, but also because he feels so sincere. Yeah, he'd play up his personality in the DR, but it really felt like it was all because he loved the game and wanted to go for the grand prize as hard as he could every week. How could this happen to me? Come on, man. I'm not here to shit on Tucker, but come on. Tucker being the Big Brother fan who wanted to really lay it all on the line. Would do anything it takes to win. Everything he does is in service of giving himself a better chance to get the 750K. The thing that hurts modern seasons more than anything, in my opinion, is how inauthentic, social mediaized, caricature-like they all are. Boring gameplay. I'm so confused because Tucker's not even boring gameplay. Like, Tucker's the example of doing big moves for the sake of television. I don't think Tucker was just gunning for AFP. It's just like he did what he thought would be most entertaining for the viewers. That was his primary decision-making process. Keanu's a great player. No, he's not. But Keanu, I do not think was ever trying to do what was best for television. He was trying to do what he thought would win him the game, which I respect a lot. That's fun. I'm down for that. Did the person watch feeds? No. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to watch feeds to know Tucker was not playing, like, in an effort to be optimal, I guess is how I'll say it. So I think basically everyone agrees. I just think the influencer complaint, we've been over a million times. Like, before it was influencers, it was models. I think on every season, there's like 3 to 4 people who I think go in there trying to build up their brand as their primary concern. I think way more than 4 people have it in the back of their mind and are going to pursue something after. I think most are going to pursue something after. I did talk about it. It might pop up again, the Rat King, but yeah, I've talked about it. But like on our season, like I am certainly an influencer. There's no beating around the bush. I've done sponsors. I'm streaming at this very moment. We have a Patreon. We're doing a podcast. Like, of course, I'm an influencer. I think it's very obvious from how I acted in the house that my goal was not to boost my influencer stocks. Whereas other people on my season, I think that was their primary goal, and it's not very hard to distinguish who is who in these scenarios. Right, and I think that number is way smaller than than people like to make it out to be. Like Jag. Jag was trying to win the game. Did he want to pursue influencing stuff after? Seems like it, right? He certainly had a large stake in like advocating for his community. I think that was a big part of why he wanted to be in there. But ultimately, his main concern was winning the game. Matt Klotz, yes, he wanted to be an influencer after. He wanted to be a model. He wanted to do all these things. He was also trying to win the game. That was his primary concern. And it showed by how he acted in the house. And you go down the list. That's most people. Who is the Cory this season for Suri? I mean, I think Rizgod is the only person that makes sense thematically, even if our personalities are super different. What's wrong with hating BB27? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a bad take, right? So, you know, I thought this post was just, like, a little bit all over the place. But, you know, it's just their experience of watching the show. It's okay. All right, here's the Leah post. What do people have to say? Part of the social aspect of a social strategy game is finding out what people on the jury value and convincing them you'll be the best person to get their vote. Just everything's setting me off. I feel like a bomb right now. Just like, no, it's not our, like, people are variable. People are random. Like, jury management is not a foolproof skill or plan. Charlie's jury management of Maria was perfect. And he lost out on the vote. You know what I mean? Sometimes people just do things. If I find out that, like, MJ goes on the jury, and MJ never did this, but just, you know, MJ's on the jury, and she wants to vote for who she thinks, in God's eyes, is most pure of heart. It's not my job to recognize that and then act accordingly. You know what I mean? Like, if someone leaves the house with a stupid criteria, or a criteria that I think is stupid, I can't do anything about that. If they enter the house and say, what matters to me the most is loyalty, honor, and integrity. Okay, well, now I have a rubric, and I might know how your mind will work. But even those people will deviate from that criteria if their friend is sitting there. The way jury management works is pretty simple. Be nice to everybody and have people think that voting for you is a respectable thing to do. Because even though if it was Bowie versus Matt in the final 2, I like Bowie a lot more than Matt, even in the moment, not just now, I would have voted for Matt because I'm like, I can't vote for Bowie. I want to, but I just can't. Like, it doesn't. There's not enough there for me to justify it. But had Bowie done 2 more things, I could have gotten there. You know? Coach in South Pacific is a great example. Like, and saying, like, you could lie about your affluent background. It's like, I don't think that's a thing. You could, right? There's nothing stopping you. I think if you're rich, hiding that, I mean, you could do the Liz. Pretend you're a millionaire. It's kind of a genius way of doing it. It's completely valid on its own, but also I think people miss that needing money can also make you a target/jury threat as well. So getting to the end despite that would be a valid reason to vote for someone from a game perspective. I don't think that's true either. It could be. I think more so on Survivor. On Big Brother, you get to know each other so damn well that, like, I don't think outside factors play nearly as much of a role as you'd think. It's not like it never happens, but, like, you are so intimately connected with every one of these people for so long that you have so many thoughts about them as a person. And really, like, what happened in the house is what's going to determine who you vote for. And the other thing that I think Big Brother is worse than Survivor, I'm sure Survivor's like this too, but Big Brother is just a more extended period. So many jury votes flip in the jury house. And the people in the house haven't talked to those people in weeks. And maybe like, I left the jury house voting for Matt. I ended up voting for Jag. Or I ended up leaving the BB house voting for Matt, ended up voting for Jag. Now, I think that was actually Matt's fault because it was goodbye messages, speeches, all that stuff. But sometimes you just have enough time to think. You're talking to other people, you change your mind. Whose fault is that? It's not the person in the house's fault. It's like, what, you didn't like have an enduring enough jury management strategy? Like, I don't know. It wouldn't really be the same game. People didn't have to take into account why someone might vote for someone in the end. It's part of the strategy of getting to know everyone and deciding who to vote out before jury and then who you want to sit next to at the end. If it was just about who played the best game, it wouldn't be Big Brother anymore, in my opinion. Yeah, but who played the better game? Morgan or Ashley? If they're in the final two, which could have happened. Morgan could have won, cut Vince. It was a possibility. Who's the better player? It's like, who's the better player is a subjective question a lot of the times. Which is why we all have to agree the only criteria that is acceptable for voting for someone to win Big Brother is vibes. Because there's no counterpoint to vibes. There's no objectivity in vibes. It's just a vibes-based ranking. There's a reason why every year Taryn has a great read on what's happening in the house, and then when it comes to the jury vote, who fucking knows? Genuinely. Everyone was certain all of BB25. Everybody. Matt beats Jag. Matt beats Jag. We all know Matt beats Jag. We're watching this season. Everyone's talking up Matt and talking down Jag. Matt's going to beat Jag. Jag beats Matt. Cam is playing this great social game in BB26, and if he's against MJ, he really has a good chance. Would have lost unanimously. BB27, the only thing they're showing us from the jury is, oh my god, Vince is a mastermind. He's the best player of all time. Rachel's like, oh my god, this guy's as good as Dan. They all vote for Ashley. Like, juries are so unpredictable. It's such a crapshoot. There are ways you can ensure that you don't get jury votes. There's people who you put them in front of the jury 100 times, they don't get votes. But as long as you're in that like group of people who could conceivably get jury votes, a lot of it's out of your hand. A lot of it. And the most important decision you can make in terms of winning the game is who you sit next to. Because if I'm sitting next to America, even if people don't like me, they probably are not going to like America either because we work so closely together. But if I'm sitting next to Blue, maybe they'll be like, fuck Cory, this guy's annoying. I'm going to vote for Blue. I don't know. I think I would have beaten Blue. But to this day, I don't know. I can't know. Because maybe they go in the jury house and Cameron says, Cory said this fucked up thing about you, Blue. And then there goes the votes. Maybe it sounds like I'm rambling. I just think people love acting like in Big Brother, everything is in the player's control. When time after time, it's just been proven it's not. Human beings are so illogical and so irrational and so feelings-based, and you just vote. You vote. Every eviction night, you just vote for what you think is the smarter choice. You might be right, you might be wrong. And then a finale night, you vote for who you think you want to win. It's vibes. Blue 4, Cory 3. That's right. But again, I think the biggest red flag for me from this whole Twitter drama is if you are adamantly thinking that one person is more right than the other, I think you're the one who's wrong. I'm not saying they're both wrong. They're both right. It's just kind of nothing. None of what they're saying means anything. And I think again, just to restate, the funniest part of all of this is Leah did not vote based on privilege. She voted for Chelsea presumably because Chelsea played the better game. And I think if Leah had the opportunity to vote between Chelsea and Chemo, she would have voted for Chemo because she likes Chemo more, not because of the privilege. Right? Like, sometimes it's like when you're in a relationship and you're fighting, you have to take a step back and be like, what the fuck are we fighting about again? And then you realize there's nothing there. And you still feel like you're in fight mode and you want to keep going, but, like, there's nothing. And you could just stop. I'm not subtweeting anybody. Turn the camera. Okay. Well, is there anything else on the Reddit? This stream's only going to be another 5 or so minutes. House guest with no social game who won AFP. I mean, Cameron's the only one I could think of. Frank, Cody. Those are probably the three. Cameron, Frank, Cody. Jeff had a social game. Keanu had a social game, even if it was bad. I understand why Cameron won AFP. It's just underdog in competitions. But I think Cameron's probably the most surprising AFP in the sense of the personality and or circumstance I don't think justifies it. Like, I think Keanu I understand more. Tucker I understand more. Frank Udy. I guess Frank's probably the most similar to Cameron I could think of. Because even Jeff, I understand why. Cameron and Jeff were just pure edit merchants. Plus Cameron's hot. Hey, again, your voting criteria could be whatever it is. I think you get lost in his eyes sometimes, for sure. He had a good bond with the Red. That was your vote criteria. That's respectable. I had a relationship with the Red. Not as strong, but... Who you got in the finals? Felicia versus Bowie Jane? It's an incredible question. I think it's one we've talked about recently, being America. Felicia versus Bowie Jane. Let's count the votes. I'm voting for Bowie. America's voting for Bowie. Matt's voting for Bowie. Jag's voting for Bowie. Game over. Okay. Bowie wins. Like, Felicia might get Surrey and Blue. I think that's it. Maybe Matt. But there's no way you're getting Jag, me, America, or Cameron. So, congratulations, Bowie Jane. You have won Big Brother 25. However, if Bowie had the choice, she probably brings Jag to the end over Felicia. So, you know, them's the break sometimes. He was not lovable. He wasn't masculine either. Shinks Boy, thank you for the prime. Felicia actually won the final HOH. Felicia wins the final HOH. She might cut Bowie too. She might cut Bowie for Matt, but I think she would be more likely to cut them. The boys, that is. Nokomis' winning chances. These are great types of posts. Shout outs to Jerry. Ranking every runner-up by our favorite Redditor. Paul being this low. I don't understand. This is BB18 Paul. If that's BB18 Paul, that's fine. I assume Donnie's here as a joke. This is also supposed to be Paul, I guess. Because Paul BB19 deserves to be here. Yeah, I mean, I think this list is fine, except Danielle Reyes is probably overrated. I think Tyler's probably better and Dan's better. I think Tyler and Dan played a better game than Danielle, but that's about it. I think Vince should probably move up a tier. I think Vince is better than everyone else in this category. Like, Vince is not as bad as Gina Marie, Big D. Like, Vince and Portia are just not... They don't belong here. I think everyone else is fine. Also, I don't know why Big D is above these two. You know, same with Gina Marie. Like, these people are not worse than these people. Was Danny that bad? Yeah, I don't remember her being that bad. She won a lot of competitions, but... I think the whole point is they hated Evil Dick, and she still lost by a ton to him. And, like, she benefited from America's Player as much as Dick. Vince, the bottom 5 runner-up, it's just delusion. He's not. People have no idea how to analyze Vince. He's either the best player of all time or he's the worst player of all time. It's like, how about he's just, like, flawed. Flawed but good. That's what he is. So I think you move Vince and Portia up. You move Big D and Gina Marie down. Move Tyler and Dan up. Move Danielle down. The rest of it seems okay to me. You should watch BB9 on the Patreon soon. Oh, God. It's like y'all are thinking of like the 5 good moments and you're thinking of not thinking of all the other.
That was me. I suggested it the other day.
No, I'm saying they're saying I'm with America. You should watch it. We could. I just think it's like y'all forget how long BB rewatches are and how like many boring weeks there are. All right, what about this Reddit? Ladies are fighting. No, you're privileged. No, you're privileged. Pretty good. Not too much new. Kind of the same posts. People shouldn't post on both. You know what I mean? And you should kind of pick which one you think your post fits more on and post it there. Who's most likely to become a legend on a returnee season? People are saying Tiffany. Like, who can become a legend and who might ruin their legacies? Tiffany for both. I think that makes sense. Keanu, I think that makes sense too. Oh, God. I actually think when it comes to reality TV discourse, the thing that makes me the most upset, and this is the most irrational thing that makes me upset, is people shitting on Dan for traitors. People just don't fucking understand. People don't get it. It makes me so mad. People, like, the worst part of what Dan did is he ruined Phaedra's game. That has no bearing on Dan's game. That shouldn't count one iota for how you consider Dan as a player. Ever. They're not a team. If my last move on Big Brother is shitting on Bowie Jane, which causes her to get evicted, it's okay. Because my game was over anyways. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. He was trying to save himself. And if it fails and falls on someone else, that's fine. It's a single player game. I hate Traders fans. I can't do it. Just can't do it. Third placer rankings. This one looks better to me. Maybe move Jerry into mid-tier because it's like he's not worse than these people. Maybe move Robert into mid-tier. Just players who had a chance of winning. I think if you had a good chance of winning in the end, you can't be this low. Same with Danielle, for what it's worth. I understand they didn't do much themselves to get in that position, but why is JC high? JC played a really good game. JC played a really good game. He's a weirdo, but I don't think that's a bad ranking. I'd move Cam down a tier. Outside of that, I think it's fine. Move Cam down a tier, and then I'd fix the low tier a little bit. There was another BBOTT. Who do you want to be the sole returnee? They said me or Angela. I think Angela would be a weird pick. I think I'd be a weird pick, too. I think for that season, you'd want to go with, like, an Izzy. I think Izzy's probably the dream pick for over the top, too. Because she'd want to play again no matter what. And, like, in terms of going with the pre-jury boot, who, like, a lot of casuals would be like, why are they back? Even though we all know Izzy. I guess her being on the race, she's probably in a spot where she could just be on, like, a normal all-star season. But I think Izzy'd be a good pick here. Why is Vanessa second tier? She's the best third placer. I don't think so. I think Jason played a better game. It's just, like, BB3 versus BB17. It's kind of hard to compare. Vanessa just played herself into a final 3 where she loses if Steve is HOH, right? Now, you could argue, like, what's a worse thing to do? Like, get yourself into a position at final 3 where if you get to the end, you win, but you might not get to the end. Or get into a situation where you guaranteed get to the end, but you might not win, i.e. Tyler. But I don't know. I think Tyler, like, having being locked into the final 2 from like the final 10 is a real achievement, and the fact that he could have beaten just about anybody, even if he didn't, makes me put him a hair above Vanessa. Even if they're not, I know he's not a third placer, but Jason, like, his game was pretty flawless, and he had a 2/3 chance of getting to the end, just like Vanessa. His game's obviously less messy, but of course it's less messy with BB3. Why did we stop watching Charm School? I just didn't have the desire to. You know, I don't want to force it. Any other last thoughts before which Big Brother winners did not have an agent? We all know the show attracts many fame-hungry people with agents, but out of curiosity, which winners did not have an agent? I don't know if someone's been cast on Big Brother through an agency. I don't think that's a thing. Tucker had an agent, I think. But, like, the challenge and agency politics is a thing. Big Brother does not have agency things. They just reach out to people on Instagram. This is just a wild, like, misconception. They're just wrong. Over 80% of the house guests in season 2 had agents. Yeah. If they're talking about season 2, I think it's a little different. But even still, I'd be surprised. And a lot of people have agents after the fact, but I don't think that's the question. People are saying, I don't think this person did. I don't think this person. No one did.
Twitch now.
What do you say?
Leah's on Twitch. She's gonna go live tonight.
Yeah, if she's going live soon, I could raid her, but I assume it's not that soon.
Actually, yeah, 10 minutes.
Going live in 10 minutes. All right, we'll stay online so I could raid Leah. Leah on Twitch, huh? We have our raid. We got to stall. We got to filibuster for 10 minutes.
I feel like it's not gonna be good. Like something's gonna get clipped. She's gonna, you know what I mean? Like
I tend to agree. I don't know if she's the best, like, communicator of your ideas on a live forum kind of thing. It feels, especially with a relatively sensitive topic, I think you have to have a lot of faith in yourself. But she's an intelligent person, you know. I'd have faith. She's going to play Pokopia. That's real as fuck, actually. Saints will destroy the Cardinals this year? Probably. Yeah, honestly, I don't have much else to say. The Saints are going to be terrible, but the Cardinals, I think, we are tanking. I just think if anyone feels like they need to make a statement, that's probably your first mistake. But if she just wants to stream, you know, fuck it, stream.
no, like anyway.
It feels like a coincidence, right?
It's not a coincidence.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen Leah on Twitch. I don't think she streams. I don't know if this is a first, but I didn't know she streamed. I think you just got to move on. Hey Bub and Kyler sometimes keeps you in a place of mediocrity where you'll win too many games to tank. I agree with you. I think I just keep Kyler because I like Kyler, but I think getting rid of him makes more sense than like keeping him and trying to lose. It's her sister who streamed. I don't think I met her sister, which is weird. I feel like I DM'd back and forth with her sister.
Yeah, during the show.
I think the Celtics have a chance. I think they are just like at a talent deficit compared to OKC, but in the East, I think they'd be my top pick. For sure. I think it's them or New York. New York's a very flawed roster, but they have a lot of playoff experience and a lot of playoff risers, so I just have more faith in them than like Cleveland, who's always does worse in the playoffs than you'd expect, and the Pistons, who it's just not, they're not ready yet. How would you cast a season of honorary house guests? I'm defining an honorary house guest as someone who is mentioned by the house and fandom so much that when you think of people related to a season, you think of them. Notable examples of BB27 would be Gwendolyn and Kelsey. Oh, you're talking like people connected?
Like Zach Wurtenberger.
Yeah, that's interesting. On our season, who are the names brought up? Like Psy?
Kenzo.
Yeah, I guess you'd go like Kenzo, Zach, and yeah, Megan Belmonte, of course. She'd have to be on. Adora. I'm going to Northeastern. I like it. Oh, I'll ask the chat because I think a lot of you guys are on the Patreon. Are you guys okay with us talking about the winner of Survivor Pearl Islands that I'm about to leak in 5 seconds? This is your chance to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Obviously, Sandra. Obviously, America and I both know it. I think everyone knows it, and I feel like it'd be better just talk about it openly so we don't have to kind of talk weird. Totally fine. I figured. America just wanted to be careful. I think it's good to be careful. Do you and America have a next show to watch? Pick after she rage quits the 100. She's not. She literally wants to watch now, I can tell. She's waiting for me to stop streaming so we can watch.
They know Lincoln. It was Lincoln.
It was Lincoln, yeah.
I'm just used to shows where they come back.
Yeah, I think what I was talking to America about is I like the 100 compared to TVD because in the 100, characters actually die, stakes exist. Whereas in a show like TVD, a character dies and you just don't believe it. You don't believe them. Because they all come back except for Jenna. I think she's the only one. Fuck Pike. The sadder part about that is, like, apparently Lincoln was having issues with the showrunner and, like, there was a whole drama there. With the 100, though, I'm just gonna have America stop watching after season 6, I think. I think so. I don't think there's...
Is it worse than TVD? Like,
it's not even close. It's worse.
It's worse?
I think season 8 of the 100 could be the worst show ever. Season 7's terrible.
TVD is like, it's boring.
There might just be 7 seasons. I think there might just be 7. But like season 7, the ending is ridiculous. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just insane. Season 6 is awesome. So it kind of is what it is. It's just the show ends there for me. Buffy, please. I'm down to watch Buffy. It'll be the first show that neither of us have seen.
Wait, you think so? No, I wanted to show you Gravity Falls.
We could do it. We could do 2 comedies.
Gravity Falls real quick because Gravity Falls is literally 3 seasons.
We could do it if you want. Did Ashley convince Morgan to cut Vince? Morgan had won the final HOH. I think Morgan would have taken Vince to the final 2. But I think Ashley was able to get in Morgan's head enough where Morgan was weighing it more than I would have thought. I think Morgan would say that Ashley didn't convince her of anything. It's just like, you can't get into Morgan's head. Who knows what she was actually thinking. From our perspective, it felt like some of what Ashley was doing was working. I think she was going to take Vince, though. And, like, Morgan having that conversation with Vince being like, what if I, maybe I don't take you because you're going to be so hard to beat and whatever. That feels like classic Morgan and Vince shit, to be honest. Morgan literally said she was going to take Ashley where? Where'd you say that? And when did she say that? I think is a better question. I think Vince was taking Morgan. I think Morgan was taking Vince. That's what I think. After she was evicted. I'm just telling you my thoughts, y'all.
That's right, she did say it. I think I remember her saying it.
Do you believe her?
Yeah.
You think Morgan cuts Vince?
I do think so.
That would have been a very funny outcome. If it's her exit interview, I mean, I feel like you'd want to lie the opposite. You'd want to lie and say you would have cut Ashley because Ashley just cut you, and it's kind of humiliating to say you would have brought her to the end. But Morgan probably beats Ashley in the end, so it's probably not that embarrassing. But, yeah, okay. I mean, that would have been a really bad decision by Morgan. I understand it because I think both Morgan and Vince more so, but both of them underestimated Ashley's game and her jury prospects. But man, it's 7-0 if she takes Vince, and against Ashley, it's like 5-2, 4-3. Like, it's dicier. I hear you guys. I'm not the type of guy to never change my opinion once I get new information. For me, it just felt like with Ashley or Morgan and Vince, it was always just so much theater between the two of them, and then they'd eventually just do what the other wanted. Like, more so with Vince, but the week leading up to it, I was certain Morgan would take Vince. That was what I thought in the moment, so. No, I think Morgan's high on Vince's game because Morgan talked so much game with Vince. So it's like in her head they were the two scheming the most and playing the hardest, and Vince won all these competitions. Like, I think it makes sense to have that misconception, even though Vince did play hard. Like, that's fair. Is Gravity Falls good? Yeah, it's great. It's great, and it's a pretty short show as well.
I think I've shown you the golf episode, or no, I showed you the zombie episode.
I've seen multiple episodes. I saw the gnomes, the convenience store.
The gnomes. Did I show you Summerween?
Yes, the one with the guy, the little kid who's in love with Mabel.
Oh yeah,
Gideon. Yeah. Anyone in chat who's seen Legacies, the third TVD spinoff, or I guess the second spinoff with Hope Michelson and the Salvatore School for the Supernaturals? I watched like 5 episodes. Man, it's unwatchable. It's so bad. Oh man, it's bad. Like, Jesus Christ, the characters are so terrible. Hope, I think, is okay. Alaric's actually likable because I hated him at the end of TVD, but he's been okay so far. But Jesus Christ, all the other kid actors are like just so bad, and their characters are so poorly written. And they make it like a Monster of the Week format instead of I don't know what the alternative is. Just like a long story. Are there new tweets? I'm looking. I don't see them. Kind of hope there's not. I'm satisfied with my drama.
I'm not. I'm ready to see the live.
Oh God, we're never gonna watch the 100. It is a tough L, though, I think, for Leah to have to take that she voted for Chelsea. Because I'm sure you want to take it back. Like, I'm glad I voted for Jag. Voting for Matt would have been rough. I started Dexter because of you two, and I'm almost done. That's a good TV show. With a terrible ending, but it rallied. Lakers Nuggets tonight. Oh, yeah, I'm locked in. I'm excited. I love a Lakers win. And I'm curious who's playing, if Aaron Gordon is playing, most specifically. 8:30, yeah. Dexter Resurrection was so fun. What a celebration for all Dexter fans that we got to get good Dexter back finally. Liking One Piece live action version? Yeah, I never. It didn't really appeal to me, One Piece. I don't know. Not a real big anime guy. I saw Morgan talking about loving Dexter on Blue Sky. It's hard for me to imagine Morgan like sitting down and watching a show. You know, like she's always I don't know what the word is. I feel like she like always wants to like chat or go do something or play something, or like just watching feels too passive. Have you heard of the show Constipated? I think you mean Constantine. Lakers are playing my Rockets twice next week. Battle of the two good teams that have no chance of doing anything. It's not the word I would use, Max. It's a mean word. One Piece is a huge commitment. It's like thousands of episodes. Isn't it like thousands of episodes that don't go anywhere? Like they never find it? Spoilers, I guess. I imagine she multitasks while watching shows. I mean, so do I. That's just how it is. Stupid joke. Stupid joke. Stupid joke. Mods, ban them. It's a 2-piece. Is it really? No way. Do they find the 1 piece after 1,000 episodes, and then they're like, oh my god, now you have 1 piece of the 2-piece? Because that would be funny. They're searching. Once they find the 1 piece, the show is over. Does the show ever end? Isn't it still going? It's still going? Yeah. For some reason. Alright. Fair enough. He becomes a Pirate King. Shoutouts to Rupert. Lakers and Rockets playing for the 3rd seed to avoid OKC in the 2nd round. Y'all gotta stop sleeping on the Spurs, though. Like, I'm sorry. I think the Thunder are better than the Spurs. I think, like, if I'm the Lakers, it feels like I'm losing to either of them. I don't really care. I think it's all about your first round matchup because I think the Lakers versus the Rockets, like, at least they're both really flawed, so anything could happen. Lakers versus the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are very overrated. I think the Lakers stand a chance, even though the Nuggets would be favored. Lakers Wolves. Lakers have beaten them. Like, in that first round series, the Lakers could maybe do something. Maybe. Because I think the Lakers get more criticism than they deserve, even if they are incredibly flawed and can't win the title. I think most of these teams are as well. I think the 2nd round, like, fuck the 2nd round. If you get to the 2nd round, that's a win. The Nuggets, I'm going to give them grace because the injuries for them have been insane this season. Like, literally insane. So I don't think we really know what they're capable of yet, but are they going to have enough continuity to even turn that around in the playoffs? You'd think so because the roster's been around for so long. Give or take Cam Johnson and Peyton Watson. We can do a March Madness bracket on the Patreon again. Yeah, I think I'll set that up right after stream probably. Spurs can genuinely win it all. Number 2 in my power rankings. I mean, look, youth and inexperience is their problem, but the roster is just really good. Just really good. And Wembanyama's, I think, game will translate to the playoffs pretty effortlessly just because so much of his usefulness comes from the defensive end. Jamal's been great. Great. They canceled the Buffy reboot today. It's probably for the best. I feel like I've never seen, like, a good reboot. Let me know, y'all, when Leah goes live. Hopefully she's on time. Because I'm running out of content to yap about. You guys are not having provocative enough opinions in chat. She just went live. Glory. What's her at? Is it Danny's? Leah Peters. Okay. All right. Send Leah some love. Okay. We like Leah in this chat. Okay. Tell her we say hi. And if she's playing Pokopia, enjoy that. I might go play some Pokopia later. All right. See y'all.